Hey, I'm Molly Sims.
And I'm Emese Gormley. We're two girls obsessed with one thing, beauty.
And by that, we mean everything that makes you look
And feel
beautiful.
We're calling on our favorite health experts, industry insiders, and friends to answer all your beauty questions.
With a drink in hand.
Definitely with a drink in hand.
You're listening to Lipstick on the Rim with Molly Sims. I have to say, I've been very, very, very excited about today's guest. I had the absolute pleasure of meeting her coincidentally in person a couple of months ago in Los Angeles. And I'm like, I'm going to get you. I'm determined to get you on Lipstick on the Rim. And I have 1.7 million reasons why, but yeah.
We're diving into some really hot topics today, things we know so many of you are, in fact, struggling with, myself included.
Let's talk about those small little issues. Gut health, hormones, check, fatigue, bloating, fasting. And today's conversation is packed with practical takeaways and honestly a lot of myth-busting moments. I'm so excited to have Dr. Emese Shah. If you don't follow her right now. She's a wealth of information. She's a double board certified MD, nutrition expert, and best-selling author known for helping women understand the connection between gut, which we talk a lot about here on Lipstick on the Rim, hormones and fatigue with millions on Instagram. She's kind of become this like go-to voice for breaking down the science behind fasting, inflammation, and why women's bodies need a little bit of a totally different approach to energy, hunger, and health. Okay, her book, it's called I'm So Effing Tired, which we've all said at some point, and we're all fucking starving. We're going to tackle being hungry. We're going to tackle fatigue. We're going to talk about balancing hunger hormones, beating the bloat, but really understanding why your exhaustion might not be what you think it's going to be. Dr. Amy, I love that you're here. We have so many questions. I'm like, I can't imagine you going to like these conferences or summits or galas and you're just like, I'm sure you're like bombarded by so many questions. Like, okay, why do I feel this? Why am I so fucking tired after I eat? Why at 4:00 I'm like, I want to go to bed and wake up at 7. We're really excited that you're here.
I'm so excited to be here. And I think one of the things I love answering those questions because walking down the supplement aisle, for example, for a woman in her 30s, 40s, or 50s is so overwhelming. And so if I can be even a little bit of help to people about like what things are really worth your time if you're a busy person, what things are worth your money, what's a total scam, like that's so fun for me. Thank you for having me on. I'm honored to be here.
You talk a lot about nutrition, lifestyle, food as medicine. What inspired you to go beyond that traditional medicine? How did you become the Dr. Emese Shah that's like, here's what you need to know in 3 minutes. Here's what you need to do in 2 minutes. Like, how did you break it all down? Because honestly, to go through that aisle, as much as it's difficult to go through the aisle of Sephora or Walmart, it's just as difficult to go through the supplement aisle because you're like, where do I even start?
I know. That's the thing. Okay, so this is what happened to me. I went to college. I went to Cornell for nutrition, and I thought I was going to do something in nutrition, but there was zero career paths after doing nutrition school. I mean, it was like you could be a hospital nutritionist or, write orders for TPN, which is like the IV nutrition that really sick patients get. And there was really no other jobs, or you could work for like somebody like a Kellogg's or a big company. And so I went to med school thinking that I could incorporate nutrition into medicine. And then, you guys know, there's basically no path in medicine where nutrition is incorporated into medicine. So then I was really burned out. I started practice and I'm like, I am not doing any of the things I really want to do. And I started to write blogs just for fun, just to kind of not be burned out and feel like I was doing something for the world that was helpful. And it was for free. I would write for free. Like literally, I would spend hours and hours on health blogs and it would just be for free. And so that's how I really got into it, because I just wanted to serve people in the way that I want to be served. Like I wanted to learn more about nutrition and health and how it helps women. And I wanted to be able to do that for other people as I started to figure it out for myself.
It's so good. Okay. First question. You're very intentional about using medication only when it's truly needed. Can you talk to us about how you use food and movement as your first line of defense when treating patients? It's just your first line, and then we go deeper.
Here's the thing. We eat 3 to 5 times a day and more, usually. That is 5 chances every day to improve your health. This is like, you can change your entire gut microbiome. You can change your entire brain. You can change your entire body by the things that you choose to put into your body 3 to 5 times a day. So that's why I think nutrition is number one. Like there is no medication, no IV, no surgery that can replace the building blocks of a healthy body, mind, and spirit the way that nutrition and your daily habits can. So that's why I always say start there, because no medicine can fix if you have poor diet, poor lifestyle habits, poor sleep habits. Like you need to start there.
So let's talk with diet, and then we'll break it down. What are some things every woman should have in their diet? Let's start with breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You said 5 meals. Should we be having 5 meals? Should we be having 3 meals? 3 meals plus 2 snacks?
Here's the deal. I have this mnemonic called the 30-33, and any woman can use this, any diet. 30 grams of protein in your first meal, 30 grams of fiber throughout the day, and 3 probiotic foods every single day. And this is based on the fact that the gut bacteria are starving. We have trillions of gut bacteria in our bodies, in our gut, that are starving because 95% of people, even healthy people, are not getting enough fiber. And we know protein. Obviously, it is a building block of our muscles. And as women, we start losing muscle at exorbitant rates. We are losing 1 to 3% of muscle mass every single year in perimenopause and menopause. That means we need to be doing weight training and we need to be eating our protein to counteract this. And so protein first thing in the morning helps with cravings and also sets the day for adequate protein. And then fiber throughout the day so that we can actually feed those gut bacteria. And then probiotics, which are actually live bacteria. We need to take in all 3 of those.
What are some examples of probiotic foods? Because I know we talk a lot about yogurt, but I don't eat yogurt.
Give us 3 that we're going to eat every single day in the next month.
Probiotic cottage cheese. If you don't like cottage cheese, you could just do yogurt, probiotic yogurt, like a Greek yogurt. Not the one with M&Ms on top. You want a yogurt that has live bacteria in it. Sauerkraut, but the live sauerkraut, the one that's in the refrigerated area. Apple cider vinegar raw, that counts as a probiotic. And you can add it to your dressing or you could add it to water. You don't have to have it straight.
How much? A tablespoon?
A tablespoon is 1 serving. Yeah.
I actually used to start drinking. I would take apple cider vinegar. I would put it into a LaCroix in the morning just to drink it because I couldn't handle it. Does that dilute it at all or no?
No, that's a good way to have it. You don't want to have it straight because it's going to burn your throat. You definitely want to mix it and either dress it as a dressing or you can have it in water. But yogurt is like the simplest one. And I think a lot of people like cottage cheese. I feel like cottage cheese is having a moment and you can buy a probiotic type of cottage cheese. Good Culture is one brand that does a probiotic cottage cheese. And there's a few others that have probiotics. Not all cottage cheese has probiotics in it. So you have to read. There's also like a whole section. If you go to, you guys live in LA, right? You go to any health food store and now even all over the country, I've seen it. There's a whole section of probiotic foods. Don't just believe though, like sometimes people will just say like, healthy for the gut or something. Like, no, it actually has to stay on the back that it has probiotics in it to be a probiotic food. I think there's a lot of like labeling these days that say like good for the gut, but that's not always good for your gut.
When you say 30 grams of protein, 30 grams of fiber, and 3 probiotic foods, you're saying that is within the day, correct?
Yeah. So the 30 grams of protein will be with your first meal.
What would that look like? A protein shake, chicken, eggs?
Yes. My favorite thing is to do a little bit of a delayed breakfast. Okay. So I'm not doing super long fast. I'm not doing 24 hours or even 18 hours. I'm just doing a nice overnight fast. So I eat an early dinner and then I'm not just rolling out of bed and having a huge meal. I try to have at least 12 to 15 hours between your last meal and your first meal, but that's easy. If you have dinner at 6, then you're having breakfast at 8, that's 14 hours right there. And in my first meal, I might have an egg scramble with veggies and some probiotic cottage cheese on the side. You could have a parfait, yogurt parfait. You could have a protein shake. You could have a yogurt. There's so many different ways, but I love an egg scramble with veggies because I think it gets me that 30 grams of protein. And then it also gets me that fiber with the veggies. And then if I have a serving of probiotic cottage cheese, I got my 1 serving of probiotics for the day. So you're off to like an amazing start to the day. That is like my favorite go-to.
You know that feeling when you're doing everything right, eating clean, getting your steps in, hitting your water goals, but you still feel off? Same. That's honestly why I started taking Symbiotica. I was so tired of wasting money on supplements, I thought we're doing something, but couldn't actually tell. Symbiotica's changed that. These are high-quality liposomal supplements, which basically means your body's able to absorb them. Total game changer. Okay, let me tell you what's in my rotation. I'm obsessed with their magnesium L-threonate, which helps with focus, mood, and sleep. I take it at night, and it's like my brain just powers down in the best way. Then there's the glutathione, which is amazing for skin and digestion. I've noticed way less bloat, and my skin is actually glowing. And for summer, I just added their new Irish sea moss. It's lemon vanilla flavored and supports digestion and energy. I'm also obsessed with their liquid colostrum. It's been amazing for my gut, my skin, and even my hair. Honestly, taking my supplements has become one of those quiet little rituals I actually look forward to, and it just helps me feel more like me. Go to symbiotica.com/lipstick for 20% off plus free shipping. That's symbiotica.com/lipstick for 20% off plus free shipping.
So many women feel like they're doing everything right, but still don't feel well. How do you help people tune into their bodies and trust that healing can come from less invasive, more sustainable interventions?
You know, this is what I tell women. I think we're going to maybe talk about this later, but I always tell women that when you realize that you have the power to save yourself, that's when everything changes. So I think a lot of people, including myself, I went through the traditional medical system, all the schools, all the things. And I kept thinking like, you need to have the right medicines and the right doctor and the right, mentor and the right, to help you. And then at some point I realized, no, it's like my responsibility. Like I can heal myself. I can use my own judgment to make my decisions. I can use my faith, my habits, my supplements, my food to create the life that I want and the person that I want to be. And so that is like the cornerstone of what I believe can help women is like, if you want to build a healthy, long, sustainable life, like you have to realize that you actually have the power to save yourself.
So one of the things that I think a lot of women suffer from, especially, whether you're perimenopausal or you're just a tired mother, is being exhausted. And you talk a lot about how nutrition, lifestyle changes can actually help cure fatigue. So can we break that down and kind of talk through what's making us all so tired in the first place?
Think about the pandemic, okay? We weren't doing much at all. We couldn't leave our houses. We weren't really exercising or socializing, but we were also exhausted. And so I want to remind everyone that like a lot of the exhaustion that we feel, especially as women, is the stress of life. So it's the cortisol that makes us so tired. It's the constant state of being in adrenaline mode, like go, 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 and having to multitask and having, our hormones kind of be wired to be more cortisol sensitive. And I think, honestly, that's what I believe is so tiring. And so if you want to be vibrant and you want to really be a energetic version of yourself, you have to manage that cortisol and that overwhelm and that adrenaline feeling where everything is running in your head all the time.
And how would one do that, Dr. Amy Shah? I mean, are there supplements you can take?
Yes. I remember when I was a young doctor and I just started my practice and I had little kids. And now my kids are teens, but at the time they're like little. And I could not ever think straight. Like my mind was in a constant to do. And I was always rushing because I always felt like I wasn't enough of a good doctor if I wasn't doing so many things. And I wasn't a good mom if I wasn't also doing so many things. And there was always a pull in all these directions. And what I realized is that I was making myself exhausted. I was making myself unhappy. And I hated the person in the mirror because I really was working on that stress hormone all the time. And so I want to tell women that it's not a quick fix. I wish there was one thing, you can turn on a switch and all of a sudden your cortisol goes down and you're relaxed. It's like a multi-pronged approach. You have to sleep more. You have to get more sunlight. You have to eat more protein, more fiber. You have to get the right people around you. But the biggest realization is that you cannot live in that state. For me, it was a really bad car accident that happened that made me realize I have to get a handle on this. And I hope for everybody that's listening, it's not that. It's just that you're listening to this episode and you're like, oh my God, this is me. I need to do something about it. But so the first thing I would do is recognize that this is happening. And then the second thing I would do is say, this is not going to be an overnight, there's no one supplement that I think that can just reverse this. This is going to take a few things. So nutrition, it's going to take sleep, it's going to take sunlight, it's going to take knowing your boundaries, it's going to take mindset work, so the whole shebang.
What are your thoughts on magnesium? Because I have become a really big advocate and believer in magnesium. I take it every single evening. I really, truly believe it has helped me with my sleep, which in turn makes me feel more even, my energy levels don't dip throughout the day. Do you believe in taking supplements like a magnesium or a vitamin D to help balance it out outside from just food?
Magnesium is my favorite. So I say magnesium, vitamin D, and omega-3s are the top 3 supplements that I would tell any woman who is saying, hey, I want to reset my gut. I want to lower my cortisol. I want to balance my hormones, all of that. So I'm like the billboard for magnesium, and not necessarily a brand or anything. I just think it's such an amazing way. There's a study that I just saw where it reduced your cortisol by 8%, but it actually increased your melatonin by 35%. So great to take in the evening. And then it also relaxes you and helps you with your muscles. It's a great one, especially for that woman 35 plus.
Can you take magnesium and melatonin?
Yes. Magnesium and melatonin work on different receptors. So the type of magnesium matters though. So magnesium glycinate or bicyclinate is the one that women should use if they're interested in the kind of the cortisol, the PMS help, the sleep relaxation portion. It's there's actually a study looking at women especially that shows that 550 milligrams of magnesium with a combination of diet or supplementation, 550 milligrams every single day helps you keep the brain younger as you age. So kind of anti-ages your brain. So in addition to the PMS support, cortisol support, sleep support, it actually helps you stay younger.
I have always been able to sleep anywhere, anytime. I'm good.
So lucky.
Until, I don't know, in the past 4 months, it's not that I can't fall asleep. I will wake up 3 times. insanity. And I don't know, I took a melatonin time release. I went back on my magnesium. I'm sure it's I've still my period, so I'm sure it's perimenopausal, but what is going on? I wake up at 2:30, 3.
Okay. Yes. Okay. When you wake up between that 1 and 4 period, it is your stress. It is 9 times out of 10 for the perimenopausal woman. It is related to stress that is happening during the day that you haven't really taken care of before bed. And I know for me, it happens when good things are happening in my life. When bad things are happening in my life, it's kind of like a sign that your HPA axis, that is your adrenal, hypothalamic, pituitary adrenal axis is off kilter. So as we go through perimenopause is basically all the years before menopause, we have a higher level of cortisol. And we're more sensitive to that cortisol. And so the same things you could sleep through, the same cortisol bump in the middle of the night that you could sleep through before, now wakes you up. And often, I'm not saying that this is you, Molly, but often you wake up and all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I forgot to, blah, blah, blah. I forgot to email that person. Like, what about, that thing that I have tomorrow? And your mind starts racing and it activates parts of your brain that now won't let you go back to sleep.
You're pretty close.
I
Does
really
that sound
think
familiar?
magnesium has helped me be calm, and I take a glycinate pill. Like a lot of people talk about calm, like the actual calm one. That doesn't do it for me. I feel like it's the pills that I take every night, and I maybe have now been taking it long enough where I have a threshold of it in my system. Is that a thing, or am I just making that up in my head?
Yeah, that is a thing. It might take a few days for it to work, but this is what I think. If you're having a trouble waking up because you're waking up in the middle of the night, one of the best things besides sleep hygiene, meaning sleep at the same time every night, wake up at the same time every morning, try kind of a detox of everything, kind of all the social media, all the phone. I had noticed when I start getting up in the middle of the night and my stress levels are a little bit off, I have to do a better job during the day of doing all the things. So no caffeine after afternoon. I want to do more daylight. You want to spend at least 1 hour in nature every single day. You want to spend at least 1 hour away from your devices at night, because what happens is all of those things are going to bring down your cortisol, and then you'll be able to kind of get through the night. That's not everybody. Obviously, there's major sleep issues, like there's sleep apnea. There is like all these other things that interfere with sleep. But if you're dealing with perimenopausal or stress issues, and then yes, magnesium helps. Ashwagandha can help. L-theanine can help.
L-theanine?
Yes. L-theanine, ashwagandha, magnesium, baby melatonin. I say baby because a lot of people overdo it on the melatonin. You want like 0.5 to 1.5. You don't want like 5 and 10 milligrams like a lot of people do. You'll get a big hangover the next day and it has long-term effects. And then chamomile is honestly, it sounds so stupid because like chamomile tea, like what, but it actually works. And a chamomile supplement, in addition to all the other stuff, can really help. There's a few, so doing a combination of those things in the evening can really help. But the best things that help is really trying to lower that cortisol all day long, more nature time, less stress at the end of the day, workout earlier in the day, caffeine earlier in the day, blackout curtains, cold room, all of that.
What are the biggest misconceptions about fatigue, especially for women in their 30s, 40s, and beyond?
I think most people dismiss women and tell them, oh, it's just that you're getting older or that you have a really busy life. Your labs are just normal. You're fine. It's like that. I know, and I know that there's people out there because I've talked to thousands of patients and just people, when I meet them, and they all tell me the same thing. They feel like something is off and they get their labs checked or get their hormones checked and everything, it looks normal. So the doctor says, you're fine, and you're not fine. And so I think that this is where I think that you really need to kind of take that control back. And like I said, kind of save yourself, because you do have the power to improve your life, your brain, your energy levels, your mood. You just have to. So one thing I would say to anyone who's gone to the doctor and been feeling dismissed, just know that you are not alone. That especially if you're in your late 30s, 40s, or 50s, you're likely going through perimenopause. You're likely feeling tired. You're likely feeling moody. 40% of women have mood issues in perimenopause. So the 35 to 55 range, 40% have new mood symptoms. 70% have new sleep symptoms. And everyone feels fatigued. And so you're being dismissed because nothing's coming up in your labs, but there is actually something going on.
I have a question for anyone that goes to their regular GP. Would you say that there's some specific atypical tests that they should request from their doctor that maybe aren't standard when you're running your labs, like that an average doctor doesn't look out for?
Yeah, I think, okay, here's the thing. I think vitamin D, even though it sounds so basic, that is like not always tested. And your full cholesterol panel. So sometimes they will only check a total cholesterol, but you want a full cholesterol panel with lipoprotein A, which is like a better indicator of cholesterol levels. You definitely want to get a full CBC. That means like a complete blood panel. You want to check iron levels. Very common for women to be low. Just like the vitamin D, iron levels can be very low. And then the other thing is fasting insulin. For a lot of us, I have a very strong family history of type 2 diabetes. So even though I don't look like the typical diabetic, I want to be checking more than just a random blood sugar. I want to be checking a fasting insulin, which is different than a fasting blood sugar. So those are some of the things that might not be on the radar for everyone, but you should check.
Let's switch gears and talk about hunger hormones. Can you explain how hunger, mood, energy, and cravings are all tied to our hormones?
Okay, so hunger and cravings, this is a really important difference. And I think once you learn the difference, it'll change your life. So hunger is a biological signal to remind you to eat food. It's cyclical. And so people who fast know this. Hunger comes and goes. It's cyclical. It's not like going to just keep going up and up and up. And so it's okay if at 10 o'clock at night, you're sitting on your couch and you feel like eating. You won't die if you don't eat, even though it feels like you will die if you don't eat. You can let it pass. You can drink some water. You can have some hot tea and it will pass. And cravings is a whole different thing. Cravings is the thing that you will get up off the couch, drive across town, and go buy because you need it. Like you need it. Your body is like, and that's akin to like alcohol or drugs because it works on a same pathway. It's on the dopamine pathway. Obviously, there's a difference between cocaine addiction and food addiction, but like a food craving, but it's on the same dopamine pathway. And so when you understand what cravings are, you're going to really be able to point it out. Have you ever brought something to your house where you can't stop thinking about it? And like, you're like planning the moment that you can have it that day. And even when you get it, you're almost like, oh my God, I'm like, I want more, but I can't. Like, it's like almost pain mixed with pleasure. That is a craving. And if you can work on your dopamine cravings and try to get yourself a little less attached to that, maybe not bringing it in the house, maybe separate yourself from that thing because it's an unhealthy relationship, you can really manage your cravings.
So what are the key hunger hormones and how can we tell if ours are out of balance? I am craving sushi right now.
You always crave sushi.
I'm sure you guys have heard about leptin and ghrelin being your hunger hormone, and then GLP-1. And that, the fullness. So we know that there is multiple different hormones that work on making you hungry, making you crave things. And that is why GLP-1 agonists help people not feel hungry, because it's working on those appetite centers. So when you augment more GLP-1 in your system, you do not feel as hungry. So that's why things like fiber are so important, because they actually work with your body to create more satisfaction hormone so that you're not as hungry all the time. And it's one of the easiest ways. If you're someone who feels hungry or unsatisfied, add more fiber to your diet. So that doesn't just mean like the powdered fiber that you buy at the store. It means like things like blueberries, avocados, leafy greens, nuts and seeds. These things work with your body to create satiation hormones so you're not hungry all the time.
What's your thoughts on dairy?
Okay, you'll be surprised. I think that dairy can be a really good thing if you train your body to be tolerant of lactose. So many women, probably most, are lactose intolerant. And so when you want to incorporate more protein into your diet and you start adding yogurt and cottage cheese, you feel sick because you can't be having that much dairy. So here's the trick. Fermented dairy, like kefir, if you've ever heard of kefir, it's like a fermented yogurt. Little amounts of fermented dairy can train your gut bacteria. It can add more of those lactose fermenting gut bacteria. And what you'll do is you can train yourself to tolerate dairy again. And so I'm a big believer in healthy forms of dairy if you can tolerate it. Not obviously, there's people who are allergic, people who don't believe in it because of religious reasons, or they're vegan, etc. But if you want to add more dairy to your diet, add little bits of kefir or some kind of fermented dairy, and you can train yourself to tolerate it. And I did that over a few years, and now I can have little bits of cottage cheese and yogurt and feel fine. So yeah, I'm a fan, especially for protein.
Before we get to bloating, the truth about fasting, I'm dying to tell you, and the timing of your nutrition.
Yes.
Intermittent fasting, as we know, it's a buzzy topic. Everybody talks about it. What's your take, and what should women specifically keep in mind when fasting?
Okay. Women are not small men, and all the fasting, craziness was done. Everybody is looking at men, right? Like what's good for men. Everything, same thing with cold plunge and same thing with sauna. Everything's on men. And so what ends up happening to women is let's go back to that cortisol. Like our cortisol system, our HPA axis is just wired differently. We are just more sensitive to stressors, and fasting for long periods of time is a stressor for women, most women. Now there are women, especially postmenopausal women, who can fast just like men. But it's a little bit different for women. I'm a huge fan of fasting. It just has to be done in a different way for women. So for women, I would say circadian fasting is typically the way I would recommend it. So that means move with the sun at, earlier dinners, and then take a break. Every single person should be taking a break of at least 12 hours from food. If you're not, that means you're shortchanging your gut health. And so 12 to 15 hours of a circadian style fast is the ideal situation.
What's your approach to caffeine, sugar, and alcohol?
Okay, alcohol, you're not going to like it because, the brain health detriment in your brain, it's a toxin. And when you're taking this toxin into your body has to figure out how to detox it. And so not only are you kind of tying up your liver because you're trying to detox, you're also affecting your brain because there's a toxin in your system, and you're affecting your hormones. And guess what? It kills your gut bacteria. And so there's less gut biodiversity. There's more leaky gut. You're aging the brain. And so I would say that overall, the stats are against alcohol. If you are going to have alcohol, you should limit it to 2 to 3 times a week. 2 to 3 drinks a week, not 2 to 3 times, 2 to 3 drinks a week. And try to stick to the healthier version. So, for example, clear liquors without a lot of mixers, or a red wine could be okay as a way to do it. So, if you want to do it badly, 2 to 3 drinks a week. Caffeine, I'm a huge fan of coffee and tea. They are life-lengthening foods or drinks, and you should be able to have it at your discretion, except for, of course, not late in the day. Huge fan of it.
Sugar.
So sugar is, of course, such a hard one. So this is what I would say. Don't be afraid of fruit. Don't be afraid of natural sources of sugar. I know we've been told in social media and through that, no, don't eat any fruit. No, that sugar, the way fruit affects your blood sugar is very different. And it acts really differently than if you're eating a refined sugar candy. So I'm a big fan of natural sources. If you want to sweeten something, do it with dates. Dates in particular don't seem to affect blood sugars of people with diabetes as much as regular source of sugar, something that was equivalent with that much sugar in it. So dates are a great alternative as sweeteners. I also think that fruit is a great alternative as for sweets.
I've been very into those true fruit, the dark. Have you ever tried that? The true fruit, Molly?
Oh my God, they're like crack.
Have you had it?
No.
It's actually like, I keep them in my freezer now. They're just dark chocolate dipped raspberries or strawberries. And they come in a bag. You can get them at Whole Foods, at Target. It is when I'm craving something sweet, which sometimes depending on the time of month I do, I'll have 2 of them. I'll take 2 little raspberries out and it is chef's kiss.
What are they called again?
True Fruit, TRUFRU.
Is there any specific diets, vegan, paleo, keto, Mediterranean, or is there anything that you would suggest if you're like, okay, let's hit it down the middle, try this?
This is what I would say. A Mediterranean diet is really hard to say like exactly what that even means. But if a Mediterranean diet means like lots of fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, olive oil, leafy greens, fresh foods, yes, that's the diet. Because a lot of people don't really even know what that means. But yeah, a Mediterranean diet has been seen. If you look at the large nutrition studies, that is a diet. And so I think of it as like the kind of old world diet. Like, if you go to Europe and you go to like the non-cities, like the outside the big cities, and how they kind of stick to the things that are local and fresh, and not very few things come from a box or can or package. I mean, it is so hard in America. Like the grocery stores here are 75 to 80% processed foods, right? So to do a kind of Mediterranean style, kind of old world style diet, like a Blue Zones type diet, is very difficult in America unless you're actually trying to do it. So that's what I would say is the more fresh foods you can have, nuts, seeds, olive oil, and skip the processed junk.
Can you share a few simple daily shifts that offer the biggest kind of long-term payoff?
Okay. A couple of hacks I'll tell you. First thing in the morning, you should try to get some sun. Like, it doesn't have to be first thing. If you can get it like before the first 3 hours of being awake, that is ideal because it resets your circadian rhythms. In your eyes, you have retina receptors that go straight to your brain and kind of talk to the hormonal centers and reset everything, like your cortisol, like your estrogen, like all the signals to the rest of your body change based on that. So that's a really big hack. I feel like getting sunlight early in the day is something that people don't do. And we just take it for granted if we do it. That is a hack. Another hack is if you can't get in a walk or a workout, a full hour. You might be like, oh my God, forget it. I just can't work out today. No, there are things you can do, exercise snacks that you can do. For example, I know you guys said you had meetings all day today. Do 10 body weight squats in between meetings. That is shown to be better than a 30-minute walk at the end of the day. So like every break, every 45 minutes, you have a break, just do 10 body weight squats. And that is something that can really change your health. Another really quick tip is to stop eating 2 to 3 hours before bed and do a circadian fast. Those are kind of things that are simple things that can make a big difference.
We love your Love It or Leave It series on Instagram. So we wanted to do our own edition with you. Yeah. Coconut Cult Yogurt.
Oh, I love it because I love everything that's going to encourage you to eat something that's probiotic.
Castor oil packs.
Oh, that's kind of a trend that's not really backed by science. And I mean, I don't think there's any harm in it, but I would leave it. It's not worth your time or money in terms of like the benefits that you might get.
Bone broth.
I think if you eat meat, if you like, I think it's a love it for most people. Yeah.
Raw milk.
I think it's a lot of rage around it. I can't say it's bad for you, so I'd love it.
Spearmint tea for hormone balance.
Spearmint tea, yes, but hormone balance, leave it. There's nothing that's going to magically balance your hormones, and definitely not spearmint tea.
De-bloat gummies or pills?
Oh gosh, no, leave it. I think, okay, let's put it this way. Leave it unless you're in a crunch, like you're just feeling super sick and you need something. But in general, you don't need them every day. Skipping breakfast. I kind of love it. I mean, I think that it depends on what you consider breakfast. I don't have breakfast. It's almost like a brunch for me. So I don't think it's wrong to skip breakfast. So love it. Eating after 8 p.m. No, leave it. Okay, rapid fire. Most interesting thing you've learned recently. Okay, most interesting thing. Okay, this is something that I have been so obsessed with recently, is that your gut bacteria can actually change your mood right now. So you could be happy or sad, or, even your personality can be changed by the gut bacterial signals to your brain. And I think the more I learn about it, the more I'm like mind blown.
Favorite day of the week?
Oh, that's going to be surprising. I know people always say Friday, but I would say Monday. I always wake up Monday. Like, I feel like the best day is when you wake up on a Monday full of possibilities. Like, this is going to be your week. Favorite dessert? Oh, we talked about it. Dark chocolate. Oh.
What's one unusual at-home exercise or activity you think everyone should add to their routine?
The body weight squats every 45 minutes or so throughout your day.
Can I tell you guys a secret? When you said that, I felt really, really good because Molly, Allison Westfall, and I, on our spring break, she said to me, she goes, I read somewhere that we should do 10 squats every hour, and that'll make up for all of our alcohol consumption over spring break. So we did it. We tried to every hour.
I'm telling you, it's a game changer. I also think that women in general should be able to hold their body weight. And so anytime you get a minute or two, just like hang from a bar or like go into a plank, you should be able to hold your body weight as a woman, especially as we age. That's how we're going to save ourselves from breaking something when we fall, because we can catch ourselves. Best piece of advice you've received? Okay. Have certainty in whatever you want to do. Be so certain that it's going to work out for you, and walk and move and believe it, that it's going to happen. It's changed my life. Like, I am certain my kids are going to be doing exactly what they need to be doing, and I won't have to worry about it because I'm certain that they'll be happy and successful at whatever it is they do. I am certain that my career is going to be doing exactly what, my relationship, that certainty is a game changer. You're amazing. We always ask every guest before they go, if you could give advice to your 10-year-old self, what would it be? get clear on what it is that you want, and then just be certain. And don't let doubts creep in. I think when I was 10 years old, all the way through med school and beyond, I was always worried about like the worst case scenario. And it's almost like the more you think about the worst case scenario, the more likely it is to happen. Like, I wish I knew back then that thinking about the worst case scenario is not the way to live life. You want to live life with the best case scenario in mind all the time.
I love it.
Love it.
Dr. Amy Shah, thank you. You're amazing. You're insightful. And honestly, we need you so much in our lives. Make sure and follow her on Instagram. It is addicting at Dr. Amy Shah. You guys check out the book, I'm So Effing Tired. We promise it will change how you think about your energy. And make sure and listen to her podcast. It's called Save Yourself. It's really good. You're a powerful woman. We love what you're doing. I was so honored to get to meet you in person with Laura Schriftman. So thank you, Laura, if you're listening.
Yes.
It was great. Again, it's, so many topics that we're all struggling through, whether it's fatigue or hunger or stress or cortisol. And yeah, I'm going to start to take those cortisol supplements. I think I'm going to do it.
Yeah. I think you do the overhaul, and the cortisol supplements can be kind of a bridge to get you to where you need to go. Yeah.
As always, don't forget to rate, review, follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Lipstick on the Rim. You guys are awesome. Emese, I love you.
Love you. Love you, Dr. Shah.
I love you.
Amy Shah sounds like
Shah.
Emma Shah. And I'm like, whoa, hold on.
Emma Shah.
Dr.
Yeah,
Emma Shah.
yeah, I love it.
You guys, we will see you next week. Amy,
Next week, love you.
it was a pleasure. You're the best.
Thank you so much. You guys were amazing.
Thanks for listening to Lipstick on the Rim with Molly Sims and my ride or die, Emese Gormley. We are so excited to bring you guys along on this journey with us. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok at Lipstick on the Rim and at Molly B. Sims. Or you can go to my blog where you can dive just a little bit deeper into my favorite products, trends, and more at mollysims.substack.com. And don't forget to check out our video episodes on my YouTube channel, Molly Sims. This podcast is a production with Sony Music. I wanted to give a special thanks to my team, Rosie Cummings, Kenna Ryan, Safin Kevorkian, and everyone at Sony Music. Don't forget to listen and follow wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss out on the fun.